All right. So first, before we begin with the formal part, I wanted to kind of get a sense and pulse of where people are. And I'm going to start a poll because I kind of want to learn more about people. I'm going to go ahead and put out a poll question here, and if you could respond and let us know, that just helps us figure out kind of what's important to you that we talk about today. So it was a lot of different answers, and every answer is right. There's no wrong answer in this. But it sounds like largely it's about making a difference in the health of people. And I think that's such an important kind of motivator to know that you are making a difference. And everything else is just as relevant to you, pursuing a PhD, that you really want a job that you're going to be interested in, and the financial security and the prestige. Those are all really important. So that's great. I'm going to do a second poll because I also want one more question here. I'm going to end this poll and I'm going to launch a second question. And that question is, what do you want most in a career center? And some of you may have an idea because maybe your undergrad had one and you saw things you liked that they had, or maybe there were things that you wish they had. So we just want to get a quick kind of temperature check to see what you feel is important in a career center. Great. All right, well, we'll go ahead and go with this. So the response was really, again, varied, and every response was right. There's no wrong answer again here too. But I think it really shows people are looking for alumni access, recruitment programs, kind of having that individual tailored advice, workshops and opportunities. So this helps us just kind of get a sense of what you're looking for, and we can also speak to that throughout the presentation. So thank you, everyone who put that in there and let us know what you're thinking of as you come into the program. So here we go. Some of the things that I wanted to say we should touch on and that you should consider is there's a lot of programs of public health out there, and some are accredited, which is great, but some things to really think about as you do choose the programs are some really important things. One is, does the school have a lot of research opportunities? Are there training that is not only theoretical but can also be applied into practice? And what does their alumni base look like? And do they have dedicated staff people in the Career Center? Because a lot of schools of public health will roll you into the Central Public Health or Central Career Center, which is more generalist career advising. They don't always know specifically what are the buzzwords in public health, or what are the sectors really looking for. So I think all of these pieces are a really important component in the decision factor that you make in admissions. And so we're going to also kind of pull apart and explain what we do in these areas to help with your decision. And let's see, so we're going to talk about research first. And as you know, University of Michigan is a major research facility. We are one of the leaders in terms of obtaining research dollars and grants for the research that's done here. And the nice thing is that does trickle down to the students. And in this picture, these are nutrition students who are looking at muscle samples for one of their projects in the nutrition department. And everyone has opportunities like this to join in research through their classes. Maybe some will take on jobs that are helping professors on some of the cutting edge research. So University of Michigan is a great place to come if you're interested in research, because it is so cutting edge and leading a lot of universities in really important research that goes on in public health that do make lives different, impacts lives positively. There are also 34 centers at the School of Public Health alone. And in addition, a lot of our students will also take on jobs or help on research at other places at the university, such as the School of Nursing or the medical school. Sometimes there's other schools that will be hiring public health people for their skills, because there is so much health research across the campus, and it's a very interdisciplinary field as well. And so a lot of our students come here for those opportunities to kind of learn from the best, and research is definitely, I think, a big pull or big draw to our program. Another thing I want to point out is, yes, sometimes you'll be learning some great things in class, but will you be able to apply them? Will you be able to show employers that you have these skills and that you know how to use them in the workplace? And that's something that's really important in this program. It's connecting the theory with what actually happens in the workplace. And we want you to leave here with skills that you can then go ahead and put on your resume. So applied public health skills is a really important aspect for a lot of our students. And there's an office called Public Health Practice where they do deployments to areas that are in need over spring break, or there's public health offices or health departments in our state or other states that might need an emergency deployment that we have volunteers for. So there's a lot of opportunity to kind of go into the communities and do the work itself, and that can translate really nicely on your resume so that employers can see, gosh, not only are they highly trained, but they've had the experience on the ground, knowing what it's like and how to do evaluation, how to collect information. Internships will also help you do that with an internship component that's part of the curriculum. And then also project-based work. If your internship might cover some good project-based work, but if not, maybe you're more on the research end, this still gives you an opportunity to do work for employers or organizations that need a public health project. And we do now post those on our job portal, which we'll tell you a little bit more about, but it's a nice way for students to get more experience. They see a project need, they know they have maybe some time to spend on a project, and now they have something that's tangible that goes on their resume. And of course, there's also courses. The coursework will often have project-based work where you might be tied to an agency and help them with a need. In this picture in the background, these are actually students in the hospital and molecular epidemiology program who are practicing their aseptic technique as a group. And so they're, again, another great hands-on experience that you might have access to. And of course, our Alumni Connections. Our Alumni Connections are great, and let me tell you why. One, we are one of the largest LinkedIn alumni groups in the world, the University of Michigan in general. And being our program, being one of the older programs in the nation, we have this really extensive base as well of alums. And you'll have access to them through LinkedIn groups. So we have a couple LinkedIn groups by department and school. And then we also have something called Michigan Public Health Connect. And what that is, it's a resource that you can go and explore and find alums by lots of different criteria. To reach out to get advice, to maybe get some mentoring, to get some networking in, or maybe you want someone to help you with a mock interview for a certain sector. And so the more that we can connect these alums with our students, it makes it a stronger relationship, and again, builds stronger workers into the workforce. And then lastly, second to last actually, there's also something called Alumni Networking Night, where we have student organizations that host a lot of panels, and then we often have those panelists come as well as the participants to do some open networking and breakout rooms to kind of learn more from these alums and their experiences. And we'll have other sessions and alumni panels throughout the year, but this is definitely one of our signature events. All right, so now we're getting on to who we are and how now we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Sheila Sines, and I'm the Director of Career Development, and I typically work with second-year students and in their job search, but I also see PhD students, and I also work with, obviously, everyone else, too. And let me turn it over to Crystal so she can introduce herself.
I can't turn my video on, but my name is Crystal Forbes, and I use she, her pronouns, and I primarily work with our first-year master's students because I also oversee the coordination of the internship program for them. However, I also work with all of the students at the school with drop-in hours and with general advising throughout the year. So, yeah, I'm excited to see you all.
Yay! And Crystal's just extraordinary at what she does and helping students with their internship materials. And she runs a lot of other projects that we'll talk about later today. And Cody's also joining us. So Cody, are you there? And can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I also cannot turn on my video, but I do encourage everybody to check that video out. Our amazing Crystal put that together with her artistic touch. So definitely check that out. But I am our employer relations coordinator for our careers team. I'm the person who goes out and finds employers and jobs and different things like that for all of the SPH students to go out and further your next steps.
Great. Thanks, everyone. So advising is one of probably the most popular services that we offer here at the school, and we see so many students. And I'm going to turn it over to Crystal here to talk a little bit more about advising.
All right, Sheila, before you change it, I'm the one in the purple polka dotted shirt. That's
Right
me.
here.
You can see my face. Okay, so we're going to talk about advising, and our office strives to provide support for students no matter where you are coming in your journey. And so we are looking at things from beginning to reflect on your professional goals or what it is that you want to do after coming to the School of Public Health, to how do I find that job or the internship that's really going to make sure that I stand out and are able to achieve those goals. Of course, we always help with application processes, so the resumes, the cover letters, personal statements, including how to do networking in LinkedIn. We know that that is a tool that is very helpful, but not often taught or supported in professional development programs. And so we definitely like to make sure that we are providing that support if students need it. And then finally, of course, we always look at interviewing and negotiating once you get that position that you're looking at. And so the way that we do this is primarily through advising. So this could be individual advising where you set up an appointment. It can also be part of our drop-in hours, which happen twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And we accommodate those in person. We now, of course, do them online because everything is online. And we really try to make sure that we're always available in whatever form that students need. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like in different forms other than advising, because we also have small groups and as needed resources to just make sure that we're covering all of our bases. So the small career groups are something that we started last year and have continued on through this year, where students meet with myself or another career staff member and one of our peer advisors for 5 to 6 weeks with students of the same level. And so this is across departments, it's interdisciplinary. And what it's designed to do is to give you information from our office, provide a hands-on practice activity, but then also have structured time set in your calendar for, I can turn my video on now. Hey, it's me. And so it's also dedicated working time that students can use to build in those professional goals. And so these have been really helpful for both norming the feelings that are very true throughout the job search process. We know it's hard, we know it's emotionally draining, and it really helps to provide a support network for students along with that dedicated time in your very busy schedules. When someone's going to say, did you do your goals? That person is me. And so they're fun, they're a new thing that we're doing, and we hope that you could potentially join us. So outside of advising in the small career groups, we also have programming. Everyone loves a good program. And so this looks like evening workshops and webinars that are on a variety of topics, again, spanning the job search and internship process. We also have online recordings that are available. So let's say you're writing an application at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, which I don't recommend. You got to get some sleep in grad school. But you're writing an application on a Tuesday night and you cannot call me because I'm going to be sleeping. And so we have all of these resources available online for you to be able to use them whenever you need, when you need them. And of course, we have these new short videos. I bummed that the introduction couldn't work, but we do have them on a variety of topics. They're 3-minute clips giving you the most important information that we have on our favorite topics. And then some of the programs will also have professional development classes that we are a part of and support to make sure that you're getting all of the information that you could possibly need and more in your professional development. And then finally, also on top of those webinars that we have recorded, we have a very extensive career services manager called Simplicity, which you might be familiar with. It's similar to Handshake if you've used that as a part of your other institutions. But here we're going to talk a little bit more about the job options later with Cody, but we have an extensive resource library where all of our handouts, which are on this slide, are available to you virtually. There's also a very cool brand new module where we can do mock interviews and you can request feedback on your ability to deliver an interview question over a virtual platform. And then all of our video tutorials are also here. So then I'm going to hand it over to Cody.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. I wanted to mention here, this is actually a pretty cool photo. This is the Vice President of the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan actually presenting to some students. So not an uncommon sight during the year. Pretty regular that we'll have, different information sessions or a whole host of different events throughout the week. So But what I really want to talk about is our approach to our employer engagement. So it's important to us that in working with employers, our students really accomplish a few key things. So firstly, to be able to explore a variety of industries, fields, companies to get a better idea of what's available. Also, become comfortable speaking with employers, ask great questions, and learn how to hold informational interviews. And then lastly, secure job opportunities throughout your time at SPH. And those come in a variety of different ways. And really, we do this through a few different ways as referenced on this slide. So first, our online career portal, as Crystal had mentioned, hosts a growing abundance of different job postings that showcase a variety of industries, fields, companies, geography, but also range in type from internships, project-based work, fellowships, and full-time opportunities as well. So there's really something for everyone. Secondly, we host over 60 unique employer events annually. Again, these events may range from coffee chats, information sessions, on-campus interviewing, industry panels, to case study workshops. So there's all different kinds of things that we do, and no shortage of new ideas as well. But similar to our postings, as we develop new relationships with companies, the number of events climb as well, which can make it pretty tough to pack everything in through the semester. Sometimes it's a bit like playing Tetris. Thirdly, but probably most importantly, as Sheila had mentioned earlier, we really leverage our alumni base in preparing students for a job application. So many of the employers we work with, have SPH alum in their organizations, and a lot of them are in hiring capacities. So it's really not uncommon that a student will come back to us after a job interview and say, our interviewer was an alum. And, we kind of get that by now, but it's always a great thing. You still have to be prepared. You still have to do your due diligence, but it never hurts to have that immediate connection. But, so while there are things we can do to help with an employer engagement side, we also value the feedback from the students. So if there's, if you come in and you request, I'd like to learn more about this company or learn more about this particular topic, it's really my job to go out there and find representatives at those companies to ensure our students are getting a tailored approach to their job search process, and that we're there to support you every step of the way.
So Cody, a question came in: how have these programs or methods changed to accommodate for COVID-19? Have they become virtual efforts, and does this impact their effectiveness?
Yeah, for sure.
To that?
Yeah, I can. So yeah, everything's virtual, and at first I think everybody was a bit confused as how to do it. It's uncommon that everything you do is virtual, but companies and institutions like University of Michigan have accommodated. And actually, I would say there's a benefit to it, because a lot of these companies that we can't have a normal reach with, maybe they're from the West Coast or have trouble traveling to our location, they're able to get more FaceTime with our students through these virtual settings. So I would say if there's anything we learned from this, there's going to be more virtual programming even when things normalize a bit. So look forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Great. I think there's someone else who had a question, and actually we're going to open up to questions in just a minute. So if you could hold on to your question, and then we can kind of loop back to it. All right, perfect, because we're almost done here. Just a couple more slides. There's just kind of got a little messed up, but normally it says sharing your joys. And I think one thing we wanted to talk about was we really are here and we want to see you succeed. Like, this is genuine. And anytime a student comes into our office, Crystal's office or my office or Cody's office, and they're saying, hey, I got that job, we truly celebrate, and we celebrate their joys. And we call that in our office celebrating your joys. And we try and make it fun and a safe place for you to come. And I think sometimes people come to us to, share their frustrations, or they come to us to celebrate. And we just want to be here for all of our students, because we know all of those are feelings that we have to work through in the job search, because it can be kind of nerve-wracking. But, this does reflect in also our career outcomes. And this is the last slide before we go back to questions. But on our last career outcome report, we did 97% of students were employed or pursuing advanced degrees, or were not seeking within that 6-month period. And that's a really good number compared to a lot of schools. And a lot of schools actually don't even share their data on this. We do have this data available to everyone if you want to look by department. And if you go to the school public health website, and you type in career outcomes on the search box, it's the quickest way to go and find out. And we have 3 years worth of data for each of the 6 departments here at our school. Our average salary reported is usually between 60 and 65,000. That varies a lot by department and obviously the job location and what sector students go into. But if you want to look at that, as I said, we do have those broken down a little bit more in our career outcome reports on the web. And some of our top hiring sectors typically include hospitals and universities, government, private for-profit, such as like consulting or pharma biotech jobs, and nonprofits. So we do see a pretty wide range or umbrella of sectors that do recruit people with public health degrees. So feel free to go look up those career outcomes to help you kind of assess. And as I said, this is something that is not necessarily unique to us, but we're one of the few schools who do share the outcomes of our students publicly. And I think that's always so helpful when you're doing your own research and trying to make decisions. So we're going to open it up to questions for the last few minutes. And I know someone had raised their hands earlier. You can go ahead and maybe type in the question, the person who had raised their hand. It was probably a recruitment related question because it came in during that time. Until you put it in though, I'm going to read off one that just came in. What is the admission rate for Nigerian students? So I don't know if Mary Beth, you can answer that in terms of the admission rate. I don't know.
Yeah, so I know we were chatting a little bit about some of your questions in the Q&A throughout the presentation. So for everybody logged in today, if you do have specific questions in regards to your application, please feel free to email our team. I will put that email address in the chat box, and then you can also feel free to contact me individually. Overall, at the School of Public Health, our admittance rates vary year to year based on the strength of the applicant pool, as well as the number of applications we receive. It typically is anywhere from about 30 to 60%. While we are briefly mentioning that, I do just want to touch on the fact that our standardized test requirement has been eliminated for fall 2021 applicants, so please keep that in mind. In addition to that, the school does practice a holistic review process to ensure that there isn't one single factor that either brings you in or excludes you from admission to Michigan Public Health. So again, if you do have specific questions in regards to your situation, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. Thank you.
All right. And another question came in, what is the process of interviewing? And that process can really change. So it depends again on the sector, and some employers will want to interview here on campus, and sometimes they'll send people to do interviews right in the building. Some will just post jobs and have you probably first initially do a phone screening or some type of Skype or Zoom screening. Sometimes second rounds will bring you in at that point. So it's just really subjective in terms of the hiring process and who's doing the hiring and what their norms are in terms of that that hiring process. So I don't know, Cody, if you have anything else to add on that. But
yeah, I was going to just add in there, you know, a lot of the companies will have preset interviewing guidelines. So they'll say, you know, this is the kind of the time frame at which we'll do certain interviews. And then as we work more and more with these companies, we become familiar with them. Those are some of the conversations I have. You know, what are some things we should know about your recruiting timeline that we can have our students prepared? And also, what are some of the things they should know to become, you know, qualified candidates? So that's something that, you know, happens company to company, as Sheila said, or industry to industry. But for the most part, we usually find ourselves pretty well prepared and the students in the know of what they need to do in order to apply.
yeah. And there's a lot of resources to help you prepare. You know, you can come with us to do a mock interview. We have the online module to do it. So usually our students go into the interview feeling like they've got this. They've prepared as much as they can, and they certainly can articulate their skills and their experiences based on what we talked about earlier of having like opportunity to put it into practice, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom through student orgs or through the practice office. So our students typically fare pretty well in the interview process. I think there are a few other questions that have come in, but they seem more admissions related. So I want to be sure that we answer the career questions first. And if there's any other career questions that need to come in, let's see. Oh, go ahead, Cody, you see one?
I was going to say, yeah, I saw one that asks if the research and career research applies to international students. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the whole student body.
That's a large part of our population.
Yeah.
I did see a question about the impact on global internships for the requirement for the global certificate. And absolutely, our students in pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID world, we do encourage students to travel and be on site if possible for their global internship and potential job prep. Right now, we're operating on the hoping for the best this summer and preparing for it to be remote again. But we do have a fantastic Office of Global Public Health, which helps with funding and networking and resources available for your global career track. And yeah, we have a couple established programs in various places, and also have a lot of faculty which are willing to help make connections if you're interested in a specific type of project or a specific region. But absolutely, please travel when you can.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that answers the question very nicely about resources that are available. And, also it's not just at our school, but the University of Michigan has a lot of programs for both international students and students who want to go international. You get to access our career resources as well as the main Career Center's resources. So really, there's so many opportunities, and what we try and do is like grab them all and get them onto our job portal so that you have a one-stop shop. But you can always look beyond us and find other opportunities at some of the other graduate schools or central campus offices. Great. All right, so I think that's it, and that's our time. So we'll probably stop there. But if we didn't answer your question, you might want to follow up with Mary Beth. I think there were a few more admissions ones that were coming up. But thank you everyone for joining us today. I appreciate spending some time with you. And feel free to click on that link to learn more about us that Crystal had sent out with our little video. And also, look up our career outcome reports and get a sense of where our students are going and what they're doing. But thank you for joining us today, and have a wonderful afternoon or evening wherever you are at, or perhaps morning for some who are not here in the US. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.